Aurie Styla, and you're listening to Replay Gang, the show where a special guest tells me about their life journey through the video games they've played along the way. This week, I'm joined by the comedian Pierre Novellie. We talked about how gaming can help with autism, what he learned from Age of Empires, and we came up with a pretty good video game idea that I think we really should make one day. Just so you guys know, we've already marked this down. Don't try and take it from us after you hear this great episode. Pierre is smart, thoughtful, and you're going to love this conversation. Do not forget to give us a rating anywhere you listen to your podcasts. And if you enjoy this episode, send it to a friend. Here's Pierre. Yo, what's going on? We are back. It's Aurie Styla again, and I've got another great guest in front of me. Well, I say in front, with the beauty of technology. In front means literally on the other side of the planet, but literally digitally in front of me. And my guest is here with me, and my guest today is a brilliant comedian and writer. He's co-hosted Frank Skinner's radio show. He's appeared on World's Most Dangerous Roads and Stand Up Central. He's written for Spitting Image and The MASH Report. I love Spitting Image. It's so disrespectful. And in 2024, he released his first book, Why Can't I Just Enjoy Things? A Comedian's Guide to Autism. Pierre Novellie, welcome to the show. How you doing?
I'm all right, man. I'm a little under the weather, but I'm okay. I'm functioning. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. Under the weather, how?
I had that thing where you get a fever. You get a fever right before you go to bed, and you think, should I try and like sweat this out, or should I,
And it didn't work, did it?
But no, I don't know. All these home remedies and stuff. It's very hard to tell if they ever work.
Which ones are you using right now that to help sweat this out?
I tried to sweat it out last night, and I still felt pretty bad this morning. And now I'm drinking flat Coke, which is
that's a remedy.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we would have flat Coke when we were sick. Yeah.
Wait. Hold on. Who did the grandparent teach you this, or a family kind of concoction? How did you? I never heard of this.
It might have been a Coke salesman. It was my parents and my gran, I think, were pretty keen on it as an idea. I suppose it's pretty similar to. I mean, cough syrup's mostly syrup, right? It's mostly sugar. There seems to be some sort of throat aspect to it, sugar. Yeah, it's it's that thing where I think the older you get, when you get ill, you just go, I'm just going to be ill now for a little bit, and then I won't be ill, and I just have to deal with it. Yeah. How are you with being sick?
Me, I'm okay. I tend to just get through it, work through it. I try not to take any medication, any like paracetamol to relieve pain unless it gets really, really bad. If I'm on the road, it's Lemsip all day and just a lot of green tea and a lot of just hydration with water.
What is it with the UK where people don't want to take paracetamol? People are very keen to not take.
So
I hear this so much. People are like, unless it's, if it gets really bad, then I'll resort to this kind of terrible.
I don't know. Maybe we tell ourselves, all right, if we build up an immunity to this pain, we'll be fine. So maybe that's what it is. Who knows? You said in the UK, where is it you're from originally, sir?
Originally from South Africa, but I moved to the UK when I was quite young. But South Africa is like America or Australia in terms of the stereotype, where it's like if you're sick, take a pill.
Okay.
Here's some pills. Yum yum yum. It's private.
Yum.
Yeah, just go for it. In the UK and other parts of Europe, I think the Germans are similar, where it's just like, well, pills are for when it's the last.
It's when
resort.
it's really bad. When it's like on death's door, then we'll take that pain reliever. Yeah, I understand.
Pills are the 100 HP restore potion. You save that up. You don't.
That's a very good reference. That's a good reference. I like that. Yeah. So you jumped straight into gaming with that link. I like that. Avid gamer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And from when do you remember your first game that you played?
I was trying to figure it out because I can't figure out which one of these came first. I'm almost certain it's original Game Boy, original Mario on the Game Boy, like side scroller.
Mario Land. Yeah.
Super Mario Land.
Yeah, good music. Barely could identify what Mario actually was.
yeah. Mario's that dark green blob near the slightly lighter green blobs. Yeah, exactly. Like Game Boy had to be like here, no backlight.
Yeah.
I also remember we got our hands on a Sega Mega Drive, which was not easy to get a hold of.
In South Africa.
Everything came later. Like, I think we just got everything a bit later. So, I mean, I know the Game Boy was like late 80s, but we must have only got it. So, certain electronics, consumer electronics, you could only get when someone you knew went abroad.
Of
I
course,
remember
yeah.
there was a lot of stuff being brought back, or I don't know if they was really imported. I can't really. So many things were sort of abroad based, and I'm not sure if the Mega Drive. Maybe we did get it from some local source, but yeah. If it wasn't the Game Boy, it was the Mega Drive, but it had to be the Game Boy, right? Because it's more crude. But the Mega Drive was a big. Me and my sisters were completely obsessed with Golden Axe.
Yes. I love Golden Axe. Yeah, you press C and you get a special move, and then lightning would hit everywhere and so on. You didn't get maybe one of those level. Yeah, three characters. You had the guy who looked atypically Hercules, Thor-esque. You had the woman as well, very skimpy outfit, and then you had the little Viking old guy with the big beard and stuff. Yeah, it was a great game. Guy.
And the skeletons would get harder if they were different colors, like the kind of dark blue, dark green skeleton guys. That was like, whoa, those guys are going to be tough to kill.
It's a side-scrolling beat-em-up kind of vibe game.
Yeah,
is what you like.
Streets of Rage as well was that, because it was just whatever was on Sega. You know, Streets of Rage.
This is my Streets of Rage. My display, Streets of Rage, right here. I'm a huge rager. Still to this day, every time anyone mentions Streets of Rage, I point to that. So yeah, it's one of my favorite. It's still my favorite franchise. One of my favorite franchises to play up until today. Even just to pick it up and go, it's such a great arcade game.
Yeah, and just like the visuals as well. You got a little bit in Golden Axe, but in Streets of Rage, it was all like the telephone boxes and like, you know, having to bend down and eat a chicken off a plate or whatever.
Randomly from the street, yeah.
Nothing makes you stronger than eating chicken from the floor in the road. Nothing makes you more healthy than that.
Building up your immunity the right way. There you go. Whatever bacteria is on that chicken, if you can fight that off, you can fight off any virus that's trying to attack you. So there you go.
That's it.
So I'm guessing the first one would have been maybe Super Mario Land on the Game Boy.
Yeah.
But then would you say the Mega Drive is the thing that got you hooked into gaming also?
Yeah, because I like Super Mario Land and stuff. And we all like everyone in the family would have like a go at it and stuff. And I remember actually my gran was really into gaming. My gran lived with us, and she was really good, really good, at least from the point of view of a child. You'd be like, oh, if you get stuck on a level, you bring it to your gran. Your gran will jump over that gap. Yeah.
Okay.
She got really into it. She got really obsessed with Crash Bandicoot years later as well. On PS1.
I like your gran. Your gran is good people's, man. Your gran is good people's. Yeah. Crash Bandicoot is a classic, so yeah, you can never go wrong with Crash.
Yeah, she was obsessed with that. She was very good at that. Just the idea that you could interact with something that was on a TV screen, was kind of amazing. And then, because that's all the early stuff, that's all console based. And then as I got older, I got more into PC stuff. Because we got a home PC for like the family to use, like a Windows 95. There was this game called the Muppets Inside. I don't know if you...
Muppets Inside, what was that about?
It was a CD-ROM game, and it was quite meta, like it was quite advanced for what it was. You installed it on your PC, and the whole premise was that the Muppets characters were stuck inside your PC. So like the eagle guy was stuck in the eagle guy with the nose who's sort of called Uncle Sam or something. He was stuck in your keyboard, I remember. You had to get him out the keyboard. The Muppets have been like beamed into your computer and they're trapped, and you, the user, have to help them get out. And it had a Doom parody. I was too young to know what Doom was, but they had a parody of Doom where it was the Swedish chef going around a maze with like whisks and stuff. And then like the little lemon and apple puppets and like tomato puppets would be the monsters, and he would go and like whisk them into pies and then eat the pie and get more health. It was really good. It was really, really good.
I'm going to look into that. Muppets Inside.
Yeah, and they play clips from the Muppet Show and stuff, like from the 70s. So they'd have all these funny little sketches from the actual Muppet Show in this very pixelated video. Like really, like, dot mauve fucking video. But it was great, and the idea of it being real with your PC, like, oh, he's this, Kermit's in the stack or whatever. It was great. I
like when games do that. There was a PC game I used to play called Inner Space, where you basically were a spaceship. It was 2D, it was a 2D almost. I mean, you can't really do top down on space, but 2D space game. You'd be in the center of the screen and you'd be flying all over the place, but all of your files were like integrated into the game, where you had other spaceships trying to attack you, but they were named after the files on your computer, or you had to hide in different folders. So you'd fly to a folder and you go into it, or you destroy a folder and you can upgrade yourself. It was such a good kind of 2D space game, and you're just this aircraft and you're flying, and it was really, really fast paced as well. I loved it, but because of what happened of you integrating your folders into the game, it kind of made it feel like a virusy game that has attacked your computer, and you're now trying to save it at the same time. And it sounds like the Muppets game had a similar element to it.
Yeah, and it just sort of blew my mind, really. And in hindsight, it wasn't like for adults, but like, I mean, the Muppet Show wasn't for kids at the time. It was on TV. It was a variety show. And it makes more sense in hindsight to have like such a funny parody of Doom in a game that's still kind of intended for people who, have played Doom, whereas I was like, whatever, I was like 8, like 9.
Yeah. It's like when kids watch Shrek now, they miss so many of the adult jokes, even with things that are repeated by like them referencing other cartoon characters. They miss so many elements of it. So I get that. That would be cool.
Like I assume we both grew up watching The Simpsons a great deal.
Oh yeah.
And like all the parodies and stuff, like I knew more about The Shining from the parody before I watched the movie and stuff,
Do you remember any characters that stood out to you when you was younger? Ones that you looked at and went, no, this person is a bit of me.
I quite liked the first person shooter I got obsessed with was Medal of Honor Allied Assault, which was the first PC Medal of Honor, because there was the console Medal of Honor.
That was PS1 on that one, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the first one, I think. And then Allied Assault was the first time they put it on PC, I think, and that came out 2000.
Okay.
Maybe 2001. And I know this sounds crazy. I've been obsessed with Age of Empires 2, so I knew you could play games on computers, and I thought that they were mostly like top-down strategy games, or like I could see, like my friend had Red Alert and stuff, and I didn't know till I saw it in the shop that you could be a guy, like you could see out the eyes of a guy. You could be in first person.
First person, yeah.
It just blew my fucking mind. I couldn't believe that, they've done it. You could be an actual person. This is insane. And it was World War II, and it had the iconic D-Day landing scene. And they based it heavily on Saving Private Ryan, I think. It was very similar. And look, Saving Private Ryan based it heavily on actual pictures and whatever. It was all realistic, but it just blew me away. And the guy, I still remember you play Lieutenant Powell, and all the briefings are addressed to Lieutenant Powell. And he's, it's a World War II first-person shooter, so you're like this fucking unkillable, you're bazookaing stuff in 3 different continents. You're not just some guy eating out of a tin and just trying not to get your fucking hand blown off. You're just this kind of unkillable special forces guy.
Okay.
And then I moved from that to the Call of Duty games, and I remember the Call of Duty games that I played at first are so old you can't even get the soundtracks on Spotify. The World War II ones, where they first introduced Captain Price.
Those are epic.
There's a mission where you had to rescue World War II paratrooper Captain Price from a big Nazi mansion. Really good mission, and he's got the sideburns and everything. He even looks the same. But it's sort of like they just kept that character weirdly, and now they've made him a modern guy. But even saying that is gibberish to someone who plays the modern Call of Duties.
No, of course, yeah. It's they kind of black-added him, where every generation.
Yeah.
There is, in every generation, there is a Captain Price somewhere, but it's just a variation or maybe the ancestor of the original one, but there it seemed to be in all of them. So yeah, they gave him the Black Adam treatment, but he's like one of the more epic people of the lore of Call of Duty. Did you complete Medal of Honor?
That one, no, you know what? I think I got stuck on the sniper mission in Stalingrad or something. I was so sure I had completed it, and then I went back and looked at what the levels were, and I didn't think I did. I completed the hell out of the early World War II Call of Duties, but Medal of Honor, it was the first time I played multiplayer FPS as well.
Okay.
And that was just a huge rush, just because, like, you play a first-person shooter, especially in the noughties, and it's like you're completely on rails, you're going down these corridors, the enemies spawn infinitely till you move past the crate that they sort of are being birthed from behind this fucking crate. Yeah. It's like infinite Germans, and they kind of move in that slow motion way. Hey, and they're kind of really slowly, and they're moving like a mannequin, but the audio's really like command, like they're really like fucking screaming, high energy German screaming, but they're moving like they're underwater. And I think I figured out how to deal with these guys. I don't find them particularly frightening anymore.
No, of
and
course,
then you go online. Then you go online.
And mate, I don't even do it. I won't go online and play against people because as good as you think you are, they'll remind you you're not here to enjoy this experience. You're here to make me feel better about how good I am.
Oh man, sometimes I would get on it with that or Call of Duty or anything, or especially stuff with the recent Call of Duties. You get on a server and you see like half the names are in Korean, and you're just like, I'm fucking dead, man.
Oh yeah. They have in parts of the world they have dedicated teams. Especially in parts of Asia, dedicated teams of people that will commit their time. They get paid to play. And streaming out there, like in terms of making money by playing video games in Asia, it's one of the highest places that you get concentration of streamers. So anytime you see someone who's out there and they're dedicated and they play hours upon hours, just know it's just not going to be enjoyable for you. As soon as you respawn, you're waking up with a landmine literally set to blow up half a second after you've respawned. It's like they can anticipate where you're going to pop up from. I realized I hated first-person shooters for a long time, and then I'm okay with them now. I'm not a big fan of them. They're not my favorite, but I can play them a lot better now. And there's only one reason. Back then, I didn't know that my brain is wired to play with the y-axis inverted. So every time I played a first-person shooter game, I struggled with the look of going up and down because my brain is wired that I go down to tilt upwards and go up to tilt downwards. So I have like, people are programmed in their mind without necessarily knowing, unless you're a gamer and you've really trained this. And I hated first persons because I couldn't control them when I was a kid. And I didn't know it was because I had to invert the y-axis.
Have you ever tried the flying games? Because the flying games are always like that for that reason. So maybe you should try any of that fighter simulator stuff you'd be good at.
I could give it a try. I've spoken to a few friends of mine and they have made it sound infinitely boring as well as exciting at the same time. Favorite video game of all time, the best one, the one that you know is top tier. No game is top tier. This is the best one.
Ah, man. I mean, in terms of replayability and how obsessed with it I was, I have so much loyalty to Age of Empires 2. Because, like, I really hated when real-time strategy changed from that kind of Age of Empires, like, sprite appearance, almost. Like, where it's, like, kind of pixelated, but the shadows and the detail were made by your eye, looking at it. You know, it's kind of impressionistic. And then even the recent Age of Empires, I don't want to play them because they've got actual little 3D models. And they look worse.
Okay.
They've changed the way the images work. And so more sort of slightly sprite-based games like Age of Empires 2 or like... it's not sprite-based, I'm not thinking of the right term for the graphics, but like Cossacks as well, the kind of strategy thing.
Okay.
Someone listening will know the correct word.
When you say sprite, are you talking like pixel sprites? Is that what you're thinking about?
Because like the characters, the little men and the buildings and stuff in Age of Empires aren't actually 3D. They're sort of, contact-based little moving guys. They're not actual physical 3D objects moving or programmed to look like that. Whereas in the modern Age of Empires now, 4 just came out a couple of years ago. They're 3D. And if you look at, say, like, which to be fair is very good, stuff like Company of Heroes, that's more 3D, the all the Warhammer stuff. But I really liked the aesthetic of it, and building a town and farms and houses and stuff, and because it's sort of so many games rolled into one. It's like you're fighting armies and stuff, but also you're having to build a town and manage an economy, and it's everything at once. And I was so obsessed with it. And this is slightly autistic. I mean, I played it so much that I would dream about it. I could still do the sounds, and also it taught me a lot of history. You know, I've got a couple of friends who are very video game skeptic, and they're like, "Oh, it's just, it rots your brain or whatever." These friends are older than us. They have an older view on these things.
Of course, they're that generation that look at it like this is a silly pastime.
Yeah, but Age of Empires too. I mean, I learned about Joan of Arc and Genghis Khan and William Wallace and all these kind of historical things that were not on the curriculum, and it pops up and it makes you a more worldly person. Obviously, if I'd spent the same amount of time, smashing into hookers on GTA, I wouldn't have learned as much about. I wouldn't have learned as much about history.
Turning tricks. Yeah.
Yeah.
You mentioned, obviously we said this at the beginning, but due to the book that you've written, you are autistic yourself.
Yeah.
How does gaming help with autism? Tell us how that dynamic works, if you can.
So something that it doesn't always come with autism, but often does, is you're very good at or you see the world through patterns, right? Pattern recognition and systematic thinking. And I don't know if video games naturally have to be pattern and systematic based, or if there are so many autistic video game programmers that they make the game the way their brain works. It's kind of chicken and egg.
It's a very good question, actually. Yeah, wow.
There are some games where, even like completely peaceful games like Farmville kind of style things, or like Harvest Moon or Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Where it's like, okay, but this is a system. And if I could just get the timings right, then there's absolutely no lag between the harvest arriving and then the thing, and then I get the right ingredients at the right times, and it's optimization. And I find that relaxing. It's very ordered, and you're trying to get everything to line up nicely and run something smoothly. It's also nice to get something to hyper-focus on, and I can hyper-focus on something for 4 or 5 hours, and it's very satisfying to just... Your brain, I don't know, it's everyone is different, especially autistic people. It's very variable condition, that's what's meant by spectrum. Spectrum isn't supposed to include non-autistic people. The reason people talk about the autistic spectrum is the fact that within people who are autistic, there's such a wide range of types of person.
Of course.
Certainly for me, it's very hard to relax by turning my brain off. I can't really turn it off. So I can get I find it relaxing to focus on a difficult game for a long period of time, because it's challenging enough that you feel stimulated, right? Like, you just go, I just need to get this thing right, or just like harvest enough of this to build enough troops to do this, or whatever you're doing in the game. But it's not actually like you're reading a difficult book. It's not actually like you're writing comedy. It's not work. It's somewhere between relaxing and work. It's a weird type of play, video games, I think, that you sort of go, I'm being stimulated, but I'm relaxing at the same time. It's such a... Yeah. It's an odd feeling.
There were games, I mean, I know Minecraft had a huge impact in the productivity of many younger children with autism that struggled to find an outlet for their autism in a creative space. And then the Minecraft was created. And initially, I think it was created for children either with autism or with kind of varied and contemporary learning difficulties, that this video game could allow them to be in a space where they create their own world and have an outlet for their creativity. And then it just became more popular with everybody. I could see how that's really, really like creative and really structured for somebody whose mind in a regular space might find it difficult to find a structure where you are considered to be alternative within that space, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's bang on. And also the fact that you can view progress, right? The hard thing about life is that you can never tell how much better you're getting at something. There's no number.
Yeah.
Unless you're, okay, if you're a weightlifter, then, the number's
Oh, yeah,
going
of course. Things that you can, that, of course. There you can measure your personal best and so on. But in life, it's harder to know.
Yeah, exactly. So you're sitting there going, I mean, with comedy, you sort of go, I hope I'm getting funnier every year.
That's interesting, because there are many comedians that I know they themselves talk about their autism on stage. You cannot define yourself as progressing like on a consistent way if every show you do varies in how well you have done. Because you get to a year down the line and you go, from my measurement in my mind, I was here, I should be now here based on my active progression. Now I'm looking at this show and I did terribly. What is going wrong? Where somebody else might go, that was just a one-off. It can happen.
Yeah. You have to
I can imagine that being a struggle,
big statistical average. You have to get like a big statistical average, and in a way that's what makes comedy a bit like a difficult video game, right? There can always be a level. You can always activate the Christmas gig level and the highest difficulty setting.
That's definitely the highest difficulty set. Yeah, definitely the Christmas gig with the staff parties of people that don't even want to be here. Yeah. Stag do galore levels as well. Yeah. Oh gosh.
The key is when the stag doos all stand up and cheer, they reveal a ruby on their chest that if you hit that, then that's where they're vulnerable. if only.
That would be the best, wouldn't it? That would be the best. And the big boss is the one who's actually getting married. He's the one dressed up in the most ridiculous outfit. Yeah, that's the main target. That one's Teflon because he's already had so much to drink he doesn't even realize he's disrupting the show. It's always that case.
He's the one dressed like the fucking nurses from Silent Hill.
Exactly, yeah. Do you have a worst video game of all time?
I remember like a lot of big nerds, I was a fan of the Terry Pratchett books,
Okay.
Sort of fantasy books and stuff. And then there's been a couple of attempts to make games out of them that never really
took
worked.
off. Yeah.
Yeah, and I saw one in my local game branch when I was a kid, and I was like, holy shit. And I the warning sign should have been that this game was like, even back then was like $5.99. I was like, It was so badly programmed, man. It was so glitchy. It had a sort of point and click aspect to it, but something I knew what it wanted me to do. It wanted me to click the lamp or whatever, but it wasn't working. And when you're a kid,
do you remember which one?
I could try and look it up.
I love that we could do this in real time as well.
Yeah, Discworld video games. It was, but like when you're a kid and you just think, well, look, I have been promised by this game that it will work. And the fact that it's not working makes me feel absolutely insane. Discworld Noir, that's what it was called.
Discworld Noir.
1999 adventure game. It was a kind of film noir parody set in the Discworld universe. And so it was a little bit like, you'd have to go and talk to people and get clues and stuff. But I just remember it being pretty shonky. And you know what, to be fair, I'm looking at the reviews now. The reviews are quite good. It could have been that I was just a kid and I couldn't figure out what the hell I was supposed to do, or my version was glitched or something, but that sticks in my head as the most disappointed I've been with the game.
Fair enough. Okay, Discworld Noir, I'm going to look that up. I don't know that one in particular, but if you have your expectations built up from reading the books, then yeah, you're going to be like, oh, this is going to be great, and then all of a sudden you get that. Yeah, I totally understand. You also, all the games you've mentioned so far, you've already briefly spoke on multiplayer gaming in terms of the first-person shooter. Do you prefer solo gaming, online multiplayer, or face-to-face multiplayer games?
Oh man, when I was a kid, I loved playing multiplayer shared screen, like GoldenEye, Mario Kart, all the classics. That was great. We didn't have a Nintendo, but I had a couple of friends who did. And so if I was over at the house or whatever, you could play GoldenEye. And during lockdown, actually, weirdly, it was my friend Chris who had GoldenEye. He moved to Norway, and I didn't really see him or talk to him very much. And then during lockdown, there was just nothing to do. Live comedy was impossible, blah, blah, blah. I actually reconnected with him and became better friends with a couple of other good friends of mine, like just because there was nothing else to do. So we were just playing Warzone fucking every day for like a year.
I think
So much.
loads of people did that during lockdown. Listen, you're not the only one, mate. Believe me.
And early on, I was quite surprised by Call of Duty Warzone, like the level of adrenaline I got from it, just because it's this massive open map, and you know that there's some bunch of strangers out there trying to hunt you down, and you're just terrified, thinking, "Fucking hell, I'm gonna have to leave this house at some point." Oh shit! And obviously, you get used to that over time, but it was such an addictive thrill to know that you were trying to match wits with a real person as opposed to bots. Yeah. So I mean, I have to credit Warzone with. I don't know if it kept me. I don't think it made me more sane during lockdown, but it kept me at a sociable level. Yeah.
Amen. Good. I'm glad you got that experience. Some people were trying to find that, especially when you were locked down on your own. Some people were really trying to find that, and I think gaming saved so many people during that time to be able to stay connected. I have a friend of mine who said all through lockdown was playing Warzone as well, or Black Ops, one of the two, non-stop, just through lockdown. And that's what got him through when he couldn't meet up with his friends, because all he had in the house were him and his kids. Now, obviously spending time with the kids in the daytime was cool, but one of his outlets is to spend time with the boys. Couldn't do any of that. So literally with the missus, with the kids in the daytime, the missus would be on the phone with her friends, and they started doing those like the Zoom parties where they would have drinks and do like that kind of stuff, and he just dived into gaming. And that for him kept him so well connected with his boys, headset on, a lot of noise. What you doing, man? Get round the cup, like all of that stuff, as you can imagine. But it was still a saving grace for him. So yeah, I don't fault you, and it's good to hear a relationship rekindle because of that. So kudos to you, man.
No, that's great.
Do you have like a game that when you look at the characters in there, like one of them, or a game itself, where you look at the world of the game, where you go, that game represents my life? Doesn't have to be a game that has even existed. Let's say one that you would think could be made that is like, this game would represent me, my life, and the world that I'd want to be in or am in right now.
I suppose, how would you do a game based on stand-up? It's funny, isn't it? Like when you see games based on an artistic skill, for example, Guitar Hero, or
Prapper
Rock
the Rapper
Band.
And stuff.
Parappa the Rapper, yeah. And the fucking the onion guy.
Yeah. Doing the karate, you had to time everything. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Oh man, that was another impossible. I couldn't figure out how to play that fucking game. It was
so hard. Like we were too early with the timing of like quick time event timing stuff with that. It was so hard. But yeah, sorry, go on.
Well, it would have to be something like that, right? Like, if you do a game based on stand-up, it would have to be like, you have harvested a very funny joke. And you'd have to like, could you do joke timing with like a Guitar Hero controller? That would be funny. Like, this is where you say the punchline. You have to don't do it too quickly. Don't, leave exactly the right level of pause. Build up your skill set. And then like you'd have to build into some sort of like challenge where it's like, get the train to Basingstoke to do a middle 20 like early on in your career.
Find a way to afford the train whilst doing an open slot for all of
exactly.
That. There was a game on the PS3 remade for the PS4 and for Switch, and that LA Noire detective game.
Yeah, it could be like that.
I reckon I've always thought about if you did a game on comedy, it'd be like that, where if you remember in LA Noire, you'd interview the people and you'd have to look at their reaction to figure out what's going on. If you could do that where you're pressing what the next line of your joke should be, and then you look at the audience's reaction to see, was that a joke you can use? Because if you can then bank it later on. And then that could be one of the jokes that you use. But then the programming would be that if you use it too often, after a while, the strength of that joke starts to reduce. So you have to build new jokes as well and keep reading them through. And the sandbox element would be you'd have to get to a gig on time before your slot starts and so on and so forth. If you get there late, you're a bit disheveled.
If you got there early enough, you could talk you could do conversation options in the green room that could unlock other gigs.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
This would be good. Yeah.
conversation options that could unlock other gigs. Yo, this is a good little game. This
could
look
work.
at us. Look at us making up a game as we go along.
Circuit simulator.
Ooh. Stand-up comedy simulator would be so good. Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah.
I'm up for that.
You could see all the faces in the crowd, like you say, and if they all have like grey hair and they're looking worried, it's like, yo, if I don't press the swear button, you'll get -10.
Stuff like that. Yeah, I should write notes down. This is a good idea, yo. Yeah, I might listen. Well, actually, no, this is being recorded. We got to come back to this, Matt, my producer. This is an idea. Look at us, a game around comedy where you could build. Ooh.
This would be great.
Me and you, Pierre, gonna be rich, mate. We'll be rich.
It. People are gonna like. You have to be funnier than like the final bosses are like fucking John Mulaney or Chappelle or something.
Yeah. Yeah, you got. Oh, mate. You got to do it like, and even the difficulty level of the stage is who you follow. So if they go on before you, and then you got to go on after that, boom! I love that. There's got to be there's something in there. Matt, better write that down, Matt. We're gonna come back to that at some point in the future, definitely.
I like this.
Listen, we got a game that we play on the show. It's called L or R. It's a quick fire game. I just give you one or two options. You got to pick which one of the two options you would pick on something. Okay, Sega or Nintendo. The classics.
Sega.
In that case, Mario or Sonic?
Mario.
See, that's interesting. You said Sega, but you went for Mario. Not a fan of Sonic.
I did like the sort of one Sonic game I played, but like I have so many more memories with Mario, mainly through Mario Kart.
Fair enough. All right, I'll take that. Good character choices or evil character choices?
I good for the first playthrough, unfortunately. If I get bored, and on the second or third playthrough, I'll be the devil himself. But yeah, good.
Good for the first playthrough, evil for the second, just to see what you've unlocked. That makes sense. Extra powers and stuff. Only be able to play games you've already completed, or only be able to play new games you've never tried.
Oh man, that's really difficult. I'm a big replayer.
Okay, nostalgia fiend.
I'll have to say ones that I've already. I've already played. I'm going to go with what I know. Yeah.
Okay, no probs. Partner who forever hates video games, or a partner who forever beats you at video games.
Ooh. I already have a partner who does not respect video games. So
they don't like them.
Choose. They don't get them. They're like so many. Like so many women of her generation, she has a great affection for The Sims.
Okay.
But, it kind of starts and ends with The Sims. So maybe I'll choose the first one.
I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but the reason they like The Sims is because they can control us, Pierre. They're trying to... I'm just joking. Don't tell her I said that. I'm only joking. TV shows and movies based on video games, or video games based on TV shows and movies.
Oh, man. Second option. I remember the Lord of the Rings games actually were pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Like Shadow of Mordor and so on.
Yeah,
they're really, really good. Really good games. Good. They have the Nemesis system in them, which was like crazy that people did this in the game. It was so good. Do you remember the Nemesis system or what it means?
No, I don't think I do.
So a Nemesis system in a video game is when you're killed by somebody, when you respawn, that person still exists in the world. You can go find them, and they're a little harder to beat the next time. You got to go find them and fight them. And if you do, you get extra points for doing that. Or if you've killed someone in a game and they somehow respawn later on, they're coming for you. Like they will look and say, do you remember that in the game where like one of them would try and come and find you, and and there'll be dialogue where it's you again and you won't get me this time, and they'll take you out. Such a good... So it made it feel so realistic. So your ops are your ops forever. Literally. Yeah. Everybody, like, listen, is beef until we die. Beef is forever right now. And when I come back again, the beef still continues. I love that in that game. That was a really smart thing that they did.
Oh, yeah.
Live in a world based on video games, or have video game characters live in your world.
Oh, man. So what, like in the second one, there'd be, people
Those
walking around in
characters.
mechs and shit.
Yes, in this world, though.
Yeah.
Or you live, or pick a world that you would go and live in. Like, that would be a great world for me to live in within a video game.
Maybe Stardew Valley. I go be a
So relaxed.
a peaceful, relaxing farmer. Just the seasons come and go.
Yeah.
Sometimes I go in a haunted mine and fight weird ghosts, but maybe I don't. I don't have to go in the mine.
Those mines are genuinely creepy.
Yeah.
Only because it's not so much what you find in the mines, it's the dread of not knowing if you can make it back out to get home again.
Yeah.
That dread is hilarious because you're in there going, come on, I need to leave. And then if you die in the mine or fall asleep or whatever, or fate in the mine, then you, for some reason, wake up in your bed again with half your money missing.
Yeah. You get kidnapped by some slightly creepy mine pervert
who puts you to bed again. It just makes puts you to bed and then takes a fee of half of your inventory. So that's great. Listen, Pierre, thank you for joining us on this. You've been great, man. Honestly, I appreciate it. You need to get well soon, relax, and play some games, take some Lemsip, whatever you need to do. Before you go, is there anything that you're doing that you'd like to let people know, where they can check you out, stuff that they can catch you at?
I'm on tour at the moment, depending on when you're hearing this, just check my website, pierrenovellie.com, or my Instagram. But I guess the thing that I'm always selling is my book, Why Can't I Just Enjoy Things? A Comedian's Guide to Autism. It's not a memoir. The publishing company was like, memoirs are very popular. And I was like, that can't be true because I haven't done anything. So that's definitely not true. It's a guide. It is a guide. Like, every chapter is a different sub-element of autism, and I illustrate it with funny stories from my life, or a funny essay about it. And I try and show in the book autistic people the perspective of non-autistic people and vice versa, and explain why it's happening. And it's I've had a really nice response to it. I got lots of nice messages from people, and people come see the tour show, and they talk to me about the book, and they get their diagnosis because of what was in the book. And yeah, it's really affirming, really nice to get that kind of feedback. So the book is the thing.
Congratulations on doing the book. I think it's an amazing achievement to put a book out there. Man. So well done to you. I really appreciate you for coming on the show. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Guys, it's another episode. We will catch you for the next one. See you soon. God bless. Take care and peace. You've been listening to Aurie Styla's Replay Gang. The show is written and presented by me, Aurie Styla, and produced by Matt Nida. Replay Gang is a Wild Ambitions production. Leave us a rating, tell your friends, and we'll be back with another episode next week.